So welcome back, TMG fam, to some more conspiracy theories, unexplained mysteries, and just overall crazy news of the world. But before we get to that, I need y'all to help me unplug some more people out of the matrix, man. We gotta do it. And you do that by hitting the like button, then go into the comment section and putting hashtag unplug. All right? And if you're new, come on, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. Let's go. Let's check this out. Here we go.
To touch the unknown, you don't need to descend to the bottom of the Mariana Trench or climb inside the Pharaoh's tomb. Believe me, all of this pales in comparison to the Amazon rainforest. This huge area is in full view of the whole world, but parts of it still remain unexplored. I tried to find out what was hidden under the dense foliage. I was quite surprised. Now, let's take it all in, one step at a time. Let's start with the river. A little geography so you know what you're dealing with. The Amazon River is the largest river in the world. Most of its basin is covered by rainforest, approximately 5,500,000 square kilometers. That's 2,124,000 square miles. That's more than the area of Spain, France, and Germany combined. It would simply be impossible to fully explore such a huge area. You can't see much from above because the forest is too dense. Wading through it on the ground is excruciatingly difficult. And
Like, they make it look just so beautiful, which it is, you know what I mean? But it's also beautiful, yet deadly.
it's there, deep in the rainforest, where many secrets are hidden. It's not so easy to uncover them, and sometimes it's almost impossible. Forget about the Egyptian pyramids. Here, the secrets have living witnesses. These are tribes cut off from all modern civilization, tribes that we know almost nothing about. It's not so easy to believe. At first, I wasn't sure either. The territory of the Vale du Javari is considered the least studied, although its area is larger than the size of Austria. It's home to 3,000 indigenous peoples of Brazil. Most of them are connected to the outside world, but there are also uncontacted peoples. They have no connection with modern civilization. They evolve on their own. How? No one has enough information about them. Now there are very few such groups left, and many of them live in the rainforests of the Amazon. Up to 2,000 people are permanently located on the territory of the Vale du Javari. They belong to at least 14 such tribes. People from the outside world almost never come to their settlements, but it's not out of fear of the locals, even if they are hostile. The tribes are officially protected by the Brazilian authorities, so the outside world doesn't harm these hermits. It turns out that exposure to modern humanity has enough disadvantages, and not just because we can teach them bad lessons. Diseases. People who have lived in isolation for centuries are not immune to the diseases we know. Even common measles or rubella could lead to an epidemic. It turns out that interaction with the outside world is a direct threat to their lives. But scientists still dream of gaining access to uncontacted peoples and studying their culture.
No, what he meant to say is scientists still try to go and infiltrate and meet and discover and learn about and study them and end up in bad situations. You know what I mean? They don't adhere to them not, you know what I'm saying? Us not going near them because we could possibly bring diseases. No, they still try to and end up in bad situations. That's what he's not saying.
Of gaining access to uncontacted peoples and studying their culture. What if these people know what's hidden in the depths of the rainforest?
We don't listen.
Don't think I'm exaggerating. There are really too many mysteries of the Amazon to count. They say there are even traces of an ancient civilization here, a civilization that scientists never learned about. These aren't myths, only real facts, and they send chills up your spine. In 2018, archaeologists managed to discover a unique site in the southwestern part of the Amazon. 81 ancient settlements, including canals, ditches, and other structures, an entire city, or perhaps even a small state. For hundreds of years, it was all hidden in the depths of the Amazon, and no one, including the local residents, even suspected such a treasure. Scientists believe that the settlement existed between 1250 and 1500 AD. They're almost certain that they've stumbled upon the remains of an ancient civilization. There could have been about 1 million people living here, and thus far, we still don't know anything about it. I'm not talking about a few individual structures standing in the forest. Archaeologists have found several hundred structures that look like man-made objects, and they're all connected. Most likely, the inhabitants of this place were actively engaged in agriculture and knew a lot about beautiful ceramics. But this is just a grain of information laying on the surface. What will we uncover as we learn more? This sensation has changed our idea of civilization in the tropical regions. Perhaps many parts of North and South America that we consider to be untouched forests are hiding abandoned fields and gardens. This is what archaeologist Christopher Fisher from Colorado State University thinks. According to him, this ancient civilization understood much more about land use than we do. But this 2018 find isn't the only one of its kind. Studying an area where trees used to grow, scientists discovered numerous geoglyphs, drawings made on the ground. 450 geoglyphs have been found in the northern parts of Brazil and Bolivia. These are ditches or embankments in the form of huge geometric shapes. The oldest of these geoglyphs were created between 3,000 and 3,500 years ago.
Now, one or two, and you'd be like, oh man, people are just real creative. You know what I mean? But 400 and something, 400 plus, that's got to mean something. It's got to be of significant importance. Got to be. We need to figure that out.
Their purpose is unknown to scientists. Perhaps the geoglyphs were a meeting place for performing rituals or to discuss important issues. We don't know anything about the ancient inhabitants of the Amazon. Even our wildest assumptions could be true. Maybe they were an observatory or even a place for communication with extraterrestrial civilizations. When it comes to hiding secret knowledge, any means will suffice. And when dense forests no longer do the job, then help can come from fire. There are fires in the Amazon forests all the time. Most recently, they started in August 2019, and they occurred in hard-to-reach areas. In total, more than 70,000 flare-ups were recorded. Every year, the area of the fires increases, but the official reason remains the same. Allegedly, people illegally set fire to the forest so they can cut it down, all for the sake of agriculture. But here I'm talking about regions that are difficult to cut down. So who and what is the forest in the way of? Very, very suspicious. Now, let's remember that the Amazon is home to a huge amount of everything. At least 40,000 species of plants, more than 2,000 species of fish, 1,294 species of birds, 427 species of mammals. But why exactly here and not somewhere else? One of the theories claims that where this forest is currently located, there used to be a sea. A study published in Science Advances claims that the Amazon rainforest flooded twice in the early and middle Miocene. The floods lasted for 200 and 400,000 years each. This assumption has been confirmed by unusual findings. For example, shark's teeth were found in Colombia. But when it comes to the mysteries hidden somewhere in the jungle, it's impossible not to think of El Dorado. Yes, El Dorado, the mythical city, state, or possibly an entire empire. A place where there's so much gold and precious stones that everyone could become rich. The history of El Dorado is complicated. Perhaps the myth began with the custom of the Chibcha tribe. The chief was covered in clay and sprinkled with golden sand until he turned into El Dorado, the Golden Man. Gradually, one golden man gave rise to a legend of a whole golden city. European researchers were delighted. They searched for this place for 2 centuries, and some even claimed that they succeeded. There were mysterious maps, and legends constantly evolved with new details. In the end, El Dorado became a metaphor. It became the name of any place where a person could get rich, and the real golden city was never found. But it could be. Maybe all of these researchers were just looking in the wrong place. I know what you're thinking. On the one hand, it all sounds unlikely. But on the other hand, there are still parts of the Amazon jungle that haven't yet been fully explored. Who knows what's hidden among the dense foliage? Perhaps in a couple of years, El Dorado will be found there.
There's a big question, what information is conveyed in animal communication? I've always dreamt of a Doolittle machine that will allow me to talk with animals. Specifically, I'm interested in bats.
Wait. Say that again?
I'm interested in dreamt of a Doolittle machine that will allow me to talk with animals. Specifically, I'm interested in bat vocal communication. How can you make any sense of what they are saying to each other? Just a few steps from the crowded highway in Israel, there's a secret kingdom of bats. My goal is to understand it. So there are hundreds of bats maybe vocalizing at the same time. And one of the major questions we are interested in is how, in this cacophony, in this, sometimes we call it a cocktail party, if we think of humans, how can you make any sense of what they are saying to each other with so much background noise? One of the main questions that we're interested in is what kind of information do these bat vocalizations convey? The open colony that we have here in Tel Aviv University is a very unique bat colony because the bats roost in our colony, but they are free.
I don't know. What do y'all think they saying? Like, what could bats be saying? Somebody cut the light off? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What are they saying?
Advantage is that we record them around the clock, so we constantly record them. Everything is covered with foam, so the recordings are perfect in terms of their acoustics. I think there are several major challenges in fulfilling our aspiration of talking with animals. So first of all, there are technical challenges. If you want to use AI, usually you need to annotate, you need large databases.
We're teaching the computer how to define between the different sounds and how to recognize what each sound means when we can hear it. For example, here, these are mating sounds. Okay, here they're eating. We just need to spend days watching all the hours of movies, and we teach the AI how to differentiate between the different sounds. In the end, the computer will be able to speak the language, to understand what they say to each other.
So what you can see here is a translator that we built. So you will see sequences of vocalizations running on the screen. Okay, up here, these are what we call the time signal of the vocalizations. And then the machine will process each sequence. And down here, we will see the decoding. What was the context of the interaction? Okay, so the machine is processing, and this was an interaction about food.
They argue, hey, just like us, they argue over food. What else? They argue over food, distinguish between genders. And have individual names and signature calls. So just like us, individual names or possibly nicknames or stuff like that. You know what I mean? And have signature calls.
We're now looking at the long-term social interactions between bats in the lab, so we can place this decoder in the room where the bats are interacting and automatically detect what they are interacting about. I doubt if I will ever see such a machine in my lifetime. But AI is definitely taking us in that direction.
Imagine AI being able to tell you what an animal is thinking when you approach it, different things like that. That is going to be wild to be able to have that possibly in the palm of your hand. Oh, this is getting crazier by the minute.
We have, on many occasions, covered the many astonishing ancient rock-cut structures which can be found virtually all over the world. Megalithic creations, often carved from a single piece of stone or dry build, constructed out of impossibly huge stones. And recently, we have touched upon the more impressive stone sites to be found, such as the horseshoe-shaped piece of granite, decided upon by someone or something as the base rock for what many perceive to be the most impressive artistic wonder on Earth. A structure named after a mountain, we also suspect has witnessed extreme excavation work in the past, as did the Giza Plateau. Indeed, although little known, acres of solid natural stone were excavated from the Giza Plateau as the foundation bed for the most incredibly elaborate pyramid found anywhere. Who could have accomplished such gargantuan tasks over 3,000 years ago? But I digress. Our topic of this video is a wonderful gem hidden upon our Earth. In fact, the largest and seemingly most impressive of them all. So impressive, in fact, a number of individuals, specialists, tasked with the investigation of this astonishing structure and the construction thereof, some for over 12 years of extensive investigation, have been resigned to the conclusion alien influences could have only been responsible for the completion of the structure at such an ancient time in our history. Known as the Lost City of Angkor, this due to its extended duration hidden beneath several thousand highly established tree roots. It was once the capital city of the Khmer Empire, which flourished from approximately the 9th to 15th centuries. However, a similar theory can be applied regarding the Khmer Empire's success to the ancient Egyptian civilization's notorious longevity. It is, of course, a possibility that we have covered regarding Giza before, that these ancient cultures partook in probably the earliest form of graffiti, presumably ordered by the current rulers, to add their own deity depictions to these already ancient and astonishing structures. It would be a logical decision for a successful leader of an ancient group of people, namely self-declared Hindu monarch Jayavarman II, who also declared himself a universal monarch and a god king, to make the decision to claim such mastery as their own creation. When visitors entered the area, they would immediately assume that your group had constructed this awe-inspiring temple, undoubtedly intimidating and additionally giving incredible security to your people, as the temple even possessed an impressive moat, an instant advantage over all surrounding tribes. Not hewn from a single rock, but created using no less impressive techniques, undoubtedly requiring the same perfection in artistic ability as Kailash Temple. 5 million blank stone blocks were perfectly laid upon one another, slowly forming a template, These stones were then individually and perfectly carved into the astonishing wonder we see before us today. As the blocks were pre-laid, this means whoever the sculptors were had only one chance to get the carvings right, a feat they seemingly accomplished.
One chance to get it right, fam. One chance. That takes their level of just the ability to be able to do all of these things that they've done. It just raises the bar and their level of expertise to me, and their amazement to me it just shoots through the roof at this point, man. We were already talking about them being advanced, but you got one shot at doing this. It's not like today's time where you can mess up, start over, or fix it, or no, you had one shot. They were advanced, bro.
Who built the lost city of Angkor? Kailash, the pyramids, Baalbek, etc., etc.? The list of utterly perplexing sites grows every day, but thankfully, so does our knowledge.
True.
How did a lost global civilization once cut solid stone with such ease and precision? Unimaginably large megalithic structures, laser-like cut stones, utilized within the baffling, polygonal masonry, not to mention the mystery surrounding the construction of the Great Pyramids. Many mysterious drilled stone cores can be found throughout Giza. These enigmatic tool marks can also be found at the incredibly ancient dolmen of Volkonsky in Russia, exposing the capabilities and clear technological prowess that this lost civilization, who we feel were possibly experiencing an ice age, had left in order to survive its fallout. Yet I digress.
A person? Oh.
Discovered within Austria, we were initially presented with just these three images, two of the exterior, which, if one looks closely, not only displays the porthole of a hidden chamber hidden upon the side of a solid rock face, but that the surrounding rocks had also been cut and finished to an incredibly high standard somewhere in the very distant past. This indicated to us that this chamber that is not only reminiscent of the Hypogeum in Malta, with the addition of the stone within the circular chamber, which we cannot avoid feeling, could have some form of connection to resonance creation, with erosion indicative of a site with an age similar to Cappadocia's ruins, but later revealed to have been, as we expected, but one chamber, in a maze akin to that of the underground city of Derinkuyu. Hidden within an Austrian book of antiquities, we discover a series of fortunately mapped, solid stone-cut chambers which litter this enormous chunk of exposed bedrock. Clearly an astonishing prehistoric site, one cut by an incredibly capably, and we feel, clearly technologically advanced civilization. For why would a civilization with simple, primitive tools, such as those made of blunt or brittle stones, or soft, malleable metals, such as that of copper, go to such extremes in the creation of a maze of hidden chambers, each not only finished to an incredibly precise degree, but to have worked stones into unnatural shapes outside of these chambers, many serving no essential function as far as we can identify? Who created this prehistoric site found within the landscape of Austria? How old are the chambers? What technology or tools were utilized in the creation of such a magnificent ancient ruin, or indeed that of the Volkonsky dolmen, along with the many similarly drilled cores and their stone blocks found throughout Giza? Do all these pieces of evidence indicate the past existence of a lost civilization, one who possessed advanced stone-cutting technology? We find such possibilities highly compelling. If one were to mention the incredible feats of engineering undertaken by our now lost ancient ancestors, in particular, gigantic walls, some may lean towards the impressive, sheer enormity of the megalithic stones within the wall of Gornaya Shoria, or more commonly, the Great Wall of China is the more popular choice.
I'm familiar with the Great Wall of China. That other one, I think that's the first time I've heard of that.
or the more obscure, lesser-known Great Wall of India. Undoubtedly, the Great Wall of China was a feat of monstrous proportions, having been built to such a scale it's visible from space. Yet what many more are unaware of is an ancient kingdom once located in southwestern Nigeria. Known as the Walls of Benin, they dwarf the Walls of China, a series of defensively constructed earthworks called Aya in Edo. They consist of 9.3 miles of intercity walls and an estimated 9,900 miles of outer wall. The walls of Benin City were described as, quote, the world's largest earthwork carried out prior to the mechanical era, end quote, by the Guinness Book of Records.
It said this wall dwarfs the Great Wall of China. Did you see that? That's insane. I've only known about pretty much that wall probably since I was a kid in school and they talked about it. But they said this wall dwarfs it. It's crazy.
The Benin City walls have been known of by Westerners since around the 1500s. Portuguese explorer Duarte Pacheco Pereira briefly described the walls during his travels. Another description was given around 1600 by the Dutch explorer Dirk Rijders. Rijders' account of the walls is as follows, quote, at the gate where I entered on horseback, I saw very high, very thick walls of earth, with a very deep broad ditch around. They were dry and full of high trees. Who built these walls? Or indeed, how did they accomplish such a mind-boggling feat? Traditional accounts suggested that assuming a 10-hour workday with a labor force of some 5,000 men, it could have been completed within just 97 days. However, these estimates have been criticized over the years in many ways, one in particular being a lack of account for the time it would have taken to extract earth from ever-deepening holes. Yet, regardless of these discrepancies in opinion regarding the challenge in its creation, or indeed their age or origin, we find these walls highly compelling.
Known as the Harakbut face, which translates from local rostral as face. I see it. Normally I would say pareidolia, but I don't think that's pareidolia. Yeah, same thing they're saying. Argued as pareidolia. I thought I heard at one point in time, like, these faces were used to, like, maybe scare off different things, animals, maybe different other, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were used for some specific important purpose. Listen, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, what y'all believe those faces were used at, or what have you heard? I can't recall, but I thought they were used as some type of scare tactic. Maybe I'm wrong though. Who knows? But y'all get at me and let me know what you think. Leave a like, share the video, subscribe, and stick around and stay tuned, man. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.